Dave from Basketball Digest. Kevin, KD, why do people call you KD? Can I call you KD? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
My first name is Kevin.
Right.
And my second name, my last name is Durant with a D.
KD, this year, what percentage do you plan on giving on the court? 90, 95, 100, 110? What are we looking at?
110.
110?
You let anybody in here.
Hey, I heard that.
Listen, we let anybody in here. You are now rocking with the best. It's Bro Ferris along with the NBA legend, college basketball Hall of Famer Jim Jackson, the one-time king of late night, addressing who would most certainly be the king of New York if he brought a championship, Kevin Durant. What'd you think about that?
Well, that's like somebody asked me why they call you JJ. I mean, first name is Jim, last name is Jackson. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Am I going to play 100%? No, I'm only going to play 50% during the season, man. I like how KD, then he's just like, how they let anybody in there.
Yeah. And you know what? They might have a championship if KD wears a size 17 instead of a size 18. But that's another conversation for another day. The Nets team preview, that's what we're delivering to you. Now, right now, before we get into everything with the team, obviously one of the biggest stories in the sport right now, Kyrie. He is not aligned with the league's health and safety protocols. And at this point, the way things are set up, he would probably miss half of the season's games. So I want to ask this in two different ways. So how would you approach this as a teammate, and would that approach be different if you were in management?
Well, it's two things here. With Kyrie, it's not so much the league mandate, it's the city of New York. Kind of like Andre Wiggins, it's San Francisco's mandate that you have to be vaccinated, okay? Within the NBA, it's not mandatory, but it's not required, but they want to emphasize that you do it.
Yes.
So we got to make that clarification. Also, from a player's perspective, we understand who Kyrie is. If he's my teammate, I have a talk with him, but at the end of the day, he's going to do him. He's going to make decisions as long as he's making smart decisions, okay? That's the thing about me with this vaccination. If you don't want to get vaccinated, fine. But you have to take precautions, everything, not to put yourself in a situation that you get infected that then trickles down to your teammates. So if you're doing all of those things according to protocols, but yet you want to get vaccinated, all right, you're doing everything to keep everybody safe. But if you're out here wilding and doing something, then that's something different. As for management, they have to come to a decision because this is going to affect who they are as a team. You can't practice with Kyrie unless you go to New Jersey and practice or somewhere else outside the city. How does this affect the morale of the team as well? These are decisions that management has to make, coupled with the fact that you had some instances in the past with Kyrie where he wasn't available to play and it affected the team. So it's not just one instance. This is something else that goes on top of it. So the question goes back to management. Are we better with Kyrie? Are we better without Kyrie? And we have to make that determination sooner or later so we can move on as a team.
Well, we just spoke about Kyrie. Now Kyrie will speak for himself.
Human being first, and obviously living in this public sphere, there's just a lot of questions about what's going on in the world of Kyrie. And I think I just would love to just keep that private and, handle it the right way with my team and go forward together with a plan. So, obviously I'm not able to be present there today, but that doesn't mean that I'm putting any limits on the future of me being able to join the team. And I just want to keep it that way so we can keep that private. And if anybody has any further questions about that, please, it'd be the same response. I would like to keep that private. And just please respect that, my privacy.
For us, we're all confident in our game, and when you have that, we're excited to see the next man shine and the next man be great. And that's the difference between all three of us. And even for us three, like we want our teammates to be great. We want Joe to hit 9 threes in a game. We want, Blake to get threes. And it's contagious. And once you have that throughout the entire organization and the locker room, that's when you created something special.
So when you hear people talk about playing the game the right way, they might look at assists, right? But what you just described is selflessness. There's not a lot of that in this league.
There's not a lot of that in this world. We're dealing, I'm blessed and excited to be, dealing with people that are selfless, that are just want to come to work and win and work extremely hard. And, I think everything else will take care of itself. Day by day, have fun, smile, and enjoy it.
We all professionals, and we all know what the main goal is in the NBA, which is to win a title. But a lot factors into that, and we understand that each day is important. We can't win one in October. So we got to be locked in from day one. And once that, opportunity presents itself to us, and, towards the end of the season, we got to be prepared for it. So we're looking forward to taking those steps.
When you all got together last season, there was a lot of chatter about how, there's not enough basketballs. You played with James before. So what was it about his game that you knew you guys could find success together?
Yeah, I felt like all three of us have seen team success in the playoffs before, so we understand that it's much bigger than us as individuals, and a lot of guys on our team have that same mentality. I can understand that if we were three younger guys who haven't played in meaningful games before, but we all played in huge games, so we know what it takes to win, and we know that you also need talent in this league as well. So we're going to have to come together as a group and keep growing and building on what we started, and hopefully we get the job done.
James talked with me about the selflessness of this team and how all you all want is success for each other. How important is that, and how underrated is that?
Yeah, it's an important aspect to a team, because everybody has their own individual journeys that they're on, and that's the beauty of professional sports, that you got guys from different backgrounds that got different motives, and we all got to come together as one group for one common goal. And I think, that's how you build a team, is that everyday process of that. And I think, we got a great group of personalities in order for us to do that, and our talent is going to, come to the forefront when it needs to.
Now, we know that this team didn't play all together. Speaking about the big three, when they're together on the floor, 5-1, without not necessarily as good. So JJ, what's at stake for this big three?
Well, you're talking about legacies here, and three individuals who are highly talented. Now, keep in mind, Kevin Durant has already won, but it's a situation where he wants to kind of do it in his own way with the structure of this team. James Harden wants to win the championship. Kyrie has won one. So kind of legacies on the line, kind of the expectation part of putting everybody together. What can you do? Can you ultimately win it? Who's the leader? All these different swirling questions. We got a little taste of it last year. Out of the 3,500 minutes that this team was together, they only played 202 together, okay? We're talking about the number of games, so you've never developed the continuity, but you saw what they could do when they're together.
Flashes.
Flashes of unstoppability. That's why they were number one in regards to offensive rating and efficiency, because of those three. Despite not maybe having some other ancillary stuff, plus you throw in a Joe Harris in there who was number one in three-point shooting, this team was just unstoppable. So the outlook, of course, is championship or bust with this team. But again, health, Kyrie situation, those things are a factor to ultimately determine how successful this Brooklyn Nets team is going to be this year.
No question. 8 games played together during the regular season. Your top 3 scorers generally have to play.
Yeah.
10 games is the number. That's the lowest amount of games your top 3 players, when you're going back to Shaq, Kobe, and Derek Fisher, that's the minimum amount of games that is taken for a team to win a championship. So you have to play at least 10 games or more together. They only played 8 in the regular season. So we'll definitely need to see them more together.
Yeah, we do. And again, injuries play a role. Again, we don't know the Kyrie situation. You saw flashes of it. Again, when you go back to the playoffs, even James Harden wasn't as healthy, but yet and still he gave you something. Defenses still had to kind of gear towards him a little bit more, which allowed KD to get off. So imagine if all three are together and healthy. And that's the reason why this roster was reconstructed a little bit differently this summer. We'll get into that little tease right there.
Right.
Into why I think they have a great opportunity.
That tease, he's a professional when it comes to television. Let's take a look at this depth chart. It is crazy. Okay. So number one, you have 44 combined All-Star appearances.
Right.
Sean Marks and company, they opened that bag this summer. Over $500 million in extensions paid this offseason, Jimmy. And, of course, they addressed the backboard depth, bringing in Patty Mills.
Well, let me tell you something. Patty Mills may be the most important acquisition of the year.
Why?
Kyrie is out. Because without Patty Mills as a backup, this team doesn't look the same because you don't have somebody manning the ship. Outside of, again, James
Harden.
Harden.
When healthy.
When healthy. So you have that backup, that point guard that you know has a high IQ. Sean Marks said he's a culture driver. Okay, so that may be the most important acquisition we've seen all summer if the Kyrie thing goes south. But the improved depth is what Sean Marks wanted. LaMarcus Aldridge, high IQ. Paul Millsap, high IQ. You get that in there, okay? And also the defense from the perspective of them having more depth allows them to guard a little bit better. Last year, when guys got hurt, it impacted offensively. More importantly, it impacted this team defensively. So now they were able to kind of go in and get veteran leaders, guys that can rebound the basketball, defend the paint, have a high IQ, have been all-stars in this league. So overall, what they've been able to do, they've improved in the areas they needed to, in particular the depth perspective for the Brooklyn Nets, with some of their additions.
You bring in those veteran additions, as you mentioned. Mm-hmm. Someone I also want to pay attention to is Nicholas Claxton, who has the length. We know that he has superior athletic ability, and he continues to develop.
Well, here's talking to Sean Marks. He said he may be their best defensive player because, one, he's long, he's rangy, but he can guard on the perimeter, which is very important because we all know, Ro, it's a pick-and-roll game. It's a spread-out drive. You come, you help. Claxton now is able to take that next level, that next jump. Again, his role, defend the paint, play defense, rebound the basketball, run the court. And when you have opportunities to score, you can do that. And why his job is a lot easier is because you have those three individuals that take the burden and pressure off. Now you just have to do what you have to do.
Perhaps one of the reasons why Jarrett Allen became expendable. So let's take a look at this Brooklyn Nets as far as the scheduling notes go. Of course, opening night. Make sure you keep it locked. TNT. Can't wait to see that one. The home opener against the Hornets. Christmas Day. I'm marking that one on my calendar.
What? Come on. I don't work that day, so I'm sitting right there watching it with a cigar in my hand, probably a little brown stuff next to me. I'm right there, a little liquor.
Nothing wrong with an adult beverage. 12 sets of back-to-backs, the third highest games that'll be nationally televised. So with all that being said, Jimmy, you talked about legacy. We know that if KD wears a size 17, 16 shoe, maybe they're advancing to the finals. What happens with this Nets team this season? What is your prediction?
Well, for me, Kyrie's there with the acquisitions that they made with Paul Millsap, and I think now again, not the Paul Millsap and LaMarcus Aldridge of 5-10 years ago, but they give you something. And Patty Mills, this is the best team in the East, not by far, but they're right there at the best if healthy.
If healthy. Blake Griffin there also returning. So is this team playing championship basketball? Are they advancing? And I know a lot depends on what Kyrie. Let's just say the roster as currently assembled with Kyrie.
Yes. Yes.
Say less.
That's the easy answer,
the easy
bro.
answer.
That's the easy answer.
But of course, it's going to come down.